So China is not keen on solving the India border, but elsewhere it seems very keen. I'm talking about Bhutan. Like with India, it's a disputed border, the Bhutan-China border. But it may not be that case for long. On Monday, Bhutan's foreign minister visited Beijing. He met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. And what did they discuss? The border. Wang Yi asked Bhutan to seize the moment, to settle the border as soon as possible. He also asked Bhutan to establish formal diplomatic relations with China. And how did Bhutan respond? Their foreign minister agreed to an early settlement. He also supported the idea of formal diplomatic relations. Now, why is all of this significant? The border issue dates back to the 1940s and 50s. Bhutan and Tibet always had a border, but China does not recognize that. So after annexing Tibet, China laid claims to land controlled by Bhutan, including this region. It's called Doklam. It's located at the junction, the tri-junction between China, Bhutan and India. Right now, Bhutan controls it. It controls Doklam, and India recognizes Bhutan's sovereignty over Doklam. But China does not. In 2017, China made moves. Its army, the PLA, tried to build a road on the Bhutanese side. And that's when India intervened. What followed was what we call the Doklam standoff. Indian and Chinese soldiers faced off for close to 2 months in Doklam. In the end, Beijing backed down, but the issue was never resolved. And now Doklam is on the table again. Bhutan and China will have to exchange land to settle their border. India fears this exchange could involve Doklam. And that's a serious issue. I'll tell you why. Doklam is located close to India's Siliguri corridor. It's the link between mainland India and the northeast. If you cut that off, you cut off the northeast from India. So having PLA troops in Doklam is a problem for New Delhi. It was a worry in 2017. It remains a worry today. Now, Bhutan has not confirmed whether Doklam is on the table, but the possibility itself is worrying. So that's the border issue. The second is about diplomatic relations. Again, it's an old one. Bhutan does not have formal relations with the P5. That's the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. They have exchanges and visits, but no formal diplomatic relations, Bhutan and these 5 countries, meaning there is no embassy. Bhutan says it's all about staying away from big power politics. You let one country open an embassy and everyone will line up. Historically, Bhutan has tried to prevent that. Their preferred partner was India. Their security, their foreign policy, all of it was decided in partnership with India. But now Bhutan is making a U-turn, it seems. They're talking about formal relations with China. The question is, where does all of this leave India? In a spot of bother. There will be questions about New Delhi's role in these talks. For starters, is India even at the table? Is Doklam on the agenda? Is Bhutan consulting India? And has India signed off on Bhutan's border package? Some of these questions were put to Bhutan's Prime Minister recently. Let me quote from what he said in response. We need to ensure we are considering interests of all parties, meaning India and China. It will be in Bhutan's interest to make sure both the parties are happy with the decisions that we make. We obviously do not want to solve one problem and give birth to another problem. So Bhutan is mindful of India's interests. Still, New Delhi will not be happy because Bhutan was always India's backyard. So talks with China should have been on India's terms. In the past, that was always the case, but right now it doesn't seem so. And that leaves India in a tricky spot.